All right, everybody, with the tragic news and the passing of the legendary George Foreman, we wanted to do a special segment and have Teddy give his top 10 greatest heavyweights of all time. So, with that being said, before I turn it over to you, we're going to do more of these pieces and content of getting the greatest fighters by nationality, the greatest fighters of all time, and different topics. So, please leave some comments. Let us know what would you like to hear from Teddy. What are some of the topics, some of the fighters, and help us out. And we're going to be doing more of these moving forward. So with that being said, we'll get right into it. Top 10 greatest heavyweights of all time.
Okay, and I don't know if you just mentioned, but real quick, we're, like you said, we're going to go into all these different areas, and one of them will be the greatest fighters from different countries, of all time, whether different ethnicities, different whatever way you want to label it, but greatest English fighters, the greatest Irish fighters, the greatest on and on and on, all the way down the list. So today, as you said, we'll start with the heavyweights, and because in honor of the great George Foreman. So first thing I got to say is this is obviously subjective. It's my opinion. It's subjective. There'll be a lot of people arguing with it. I get it. I understand, but it's the nature of the beast. It's subjective. And I want to say one thing at the start. One name, Usyk. Usyk is not in here. Alexander Usyk, because his career is still going on. I can tell you right now, because you know me, I like to be transparent. I don't want people saying, oh, blah, 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 whatever that's jumbo stuff that these fans sometimes do. And, I love you. But you do that jumbo stuff sometimes. And Usyk's going to be on this list. There's no doubt about it. But he has to finish his career. And it's winding down. He probably is maybe 2 fights away. I'm going to guess that he might be 2 fights away. But when that's finished up, oh yeah, he'll be on this list. He's earned that right already. Yeah, he has. You like it? Good. You don't like it? Okay. But I just want you to know where I'm at and where I think he is. And he deserves to be. So, having said that, we will start. Drum roll, please. Richie, drum roll. Thank you. We will start with number 10. And again, some people like it, they won't like it, whatever. If you're on this list, this sport has been around for 2,000 or more years. There are hieroglyphics. There are drawings on caves that archaeologists have found of people depicted to be fighting on caves that go back 2,000 years. So we don't even know how long the sport has been around. It's been in the Olympics from the beginning. I mean, it has a longer history than any sport that we know of, except perhaps the marathon, maybe. But there ain't nobody throwing punches at those guys when they run, okay? So this, to me, takes top billing. So here it is. If you're in that list of top 10, whether you're happy or not happy with the placement of maybe your guy that I'm about to shout out, you shouldn't be unhappy, fellas. He's on the list. He's on the list. It's a top 10 of a history of fighters that is very thick, very deep, very special. Okay, number 10. Did he represent England, Canada? He won the Olympic gold medal. I think the English will claim him as one of theirs, one of their greats. He was big. He knew how to fight big. He could punch with the right hand. He had a terrific jab. Yes, he had his ups and downs. But despite of all of that, he was a dominant force in the heavyweight division during his time. Even when he lost, he came back. So he showed heart to go along with ability and the power in that right hand. Yes, I'm talking about the one and the only, Lennox Lewis. Okay, he deserves to be there. He controlled guys with the jab. He controlled geography. He set him up. He set the table with the jab. He ate with the right hand. Yeah, he got knocked out. There's a reason why he's not higher. You know, he got knocked out by Oliver McCall and Hasim Rahman, but he came back and revenged those fights. He won those fights. He came back. That means a lot to me. But it means something that he lost also in a way that he lost to those guys. But having said all that, look at his body of work. It's been terrific. As I said, he was consistently the top heavyweight of his time during that period. He's got plenty of proper names, if you want, that he did beat, besides the usual suspects that everybody has on their records. So yeah, Lennox Lewis, number 10. Number 9. When people talk about this man, they talk about it. Did he have the greatest jab of all time? No, I'm not talking about Muhammad Ali. I'm talking about somebody else who had a jab that a lot of people, a lot of the so-called pundits of the sport will say that it might have been the greatest jab of all time. And yes, he was pursuing a record. That was a difficult record. And he was this close to tying it, and this close to breaking it. And it's a record that might stand for all of time. But who knows? Because there might be other caves to explore later on after we are all dust. And they will be talking about this era. And when they talk about this era, they will talk about the man who came that close to being the only undefeated heavyweight champ, or to make room for a second one, because there was only one undefeated heavyweight champ. And this guy came that close. And he came that close by, whether you like it or not, he beat everyone in his era. You can only beat the guys in your era. That's all you can do. And he beat all of them. Up until the one that he didn't win. And a lot of people thought that he got robbed. I don't know. I'm not going to go into it. It was a good fight. It was a competitive fight. And then he fought the rematch. Yeah, who am I talking about? Yeah, I'm talking about him. The Eastern Assassin. The one and only Larry Holmes. Yes, number 9. Yeah, the man I was talking about was, he almost tied the record of 49-0. He got to 48. That record of Rocky Marciano. He didn't quite get there. Michael Spinks moved up from light heavyweight to beat him. A lot of people thought that it wasn't right. It was politics. It was a bad decision. We could go on and on. We're not going to go on and on. But Larry Holmes deserves to be on this list. Okay, number 8. You got to understand, what am I using as, really what are the factors I look for, the criterion in judging such a difficult list? You have to have a criterion. Yeah, how good you are, your ability, how you use that ability, who you fought, competition, longevity, how consistent were you, all of those things. Yes, all of that. But also historic placement. Where you fit in history. Did you change history? Did you impact the history of the sport? That has got to be equated into it. It has. And as far as the people out there, the guys that are going to get a little crazy, a little nutty, and they're going to start saying, oh, he was too small. He was too... We can only be the size they were during the era. We know and we understand that the fighters back years ago was smaller. There were smaller football players. There were small baseball players. There were smaller basketball players. There were smaller fighters. That is irrelevant. We are not trying to match up size. Oh, Ted, that guy could never have fought Lennox Lewis. Lewis was too big. Klitschko was too big for him. This one, we're not talking. Fury was too big. We're not talking about that. We are judging them for their era. How great they were in their era and how they used their size, their ability in that era. And again, how did they impact this great sport that's been around so long that we're doing an episode on it? How did they impact it? Well, this guy impacted it pretty damn good with one of the greatest left hooks of all time. Yeah, he was small, but yeah, he was powerful. And yeah, like a lot of them, he had a great story. Yeah, he went from hobo. That's what they called bums back then. And I don't like to use that term for any human being, but people that were homeless, people that didn't have the ability to have a house to go and stay in a hotel or whatever. They called them hobos. Yeah, he went from hobo to champion of the world during a time when boxing was the biggest sport in this country, bigger than our national pastime, bigger than baseball. Yeah, he did. And yeah, he was involved in the first $1 million gate in the history of boxing. Yeah, he was all those things. Yeah, his name was Jack Dempsey. Yeah, the Manasseh Mauler. And again, bring your arguments, bring your darts, your knives, your everything. I don't care. I got plexiglass up here. Look, right here. The only one who could get to me is Richie. And Richie's my man, so I ain't worried about that. Yeah, Jack Dempsey. Involved with some history. Involved with some of the biggest fights and the biggest times. And again, $1 million gate. And man, he beat some giants. He knocked out some giants. He could punch. And he could finish. He was one of the great finishers in the sport of boxing. Number 7. Yeah. The argument was going to be, but Teddy, he was 180 pounds. He fought a lot of fights in light heavyweight. Maybe 182 pounds. 83, I don't know. Somewhere in that area. Come on. Yeah, but he also, I don't have his record in front of me, but he have about 80 wins and maybe 1 loss. 1 loss, maybe 2. To have that many fights back in that day and to fight anybody who was around and to beat the great Jack Dempsey, not once, but twice, and talk about history, to be involved with a fight that was historic and is still historic, that was called the long count, to be involved in that fight for the first time when the Marquess of Queensberry rules had come into play at full effect, where up until that point, when you dropped a guy, you could stand over him. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you could stand. You think UFC was tough? Well, you could stand over the guy in the ring. And when he got a knee off, bang, hit him again. Yeah. And then the Marquess of Queensberry rules came along. Yeah, you great British fans, all that stuff came along. You had to go to a neutral corner. And in this fight, Tunney got dropped. He showed the heart of a lion, the heart of a champion. He got up. Jack Dempsey was pulled back because he forgot that it was the new rules. So maybe he got a couple extra seconds. Hence the term, the long count. But either way, Tunney got up. And he would have got up if it was a few seconds early. I know he would have. Because I know what Tunney was. I guess I gave it away. Yeah, number 7. Gene Tunney. The Marine. The guy who actually read books in training camp. That writers would say, what kind of fighter is this? We never heard of a fighter reading books, novels, in training camp. Yeah, he did. He was smart. He fought smart. But he was tough. He was a Marine. He was tough. He was everything he needed to be. He used his legs. He moved, he boxed, but he also answered the bell when he had to. When he got dropped by that left hook that left most people on the floor that never got up from, when he got dropped with that left hook by Dempsey, he showed that intangible. Or maybe it should be called tangible. The heart of a champion. Okay, so number 7. The Fighting Marine, Gene Tunney. Now, for number 6. Now, you people been with us a long time, most of you. You know that sometimes I do things a little unconventional. I'm not going to disappoint you. I'm going to be a little unconventional. We are right at number 6 now. So right at this point, right around, the midway point, just about before we get to the exact midway point, a very important point for me, because for me, when you get to that top 5, you're getting to Mount Everest. The air's getting a little thinner. You're feeling a little lightheaded, a little different. So what I'm doing here, and at the end of the day, some of you might understand it after I explain it. Some of you won't. But you know what? It's my list. So I get to do the way I want to do it. I'm leaving number 6 open. I'm leaving it open because I said early on that Usyk is coming into the party. He's coming. It's just a matter of when he retires. So I have to leave a spot for Mr. Usyk. So right now, I'm going to leave number 6 open. I'll leave it to your imagination. You can even, it makes the show even better. My son loves it. He's smiling already because you can call in. You can write in whatever the heck you guys do with that stuff. You can and say, this is who I would have had, Ted. How about thinking about this guy when later on? How about this guy? We will take all of your thoughts, all of your suggestions. We won't use them. I'm only kidding. We will take all of them seriously, and we will make a list of them. And we will have that on another show to discuss your input. But right now, number 6 is left open because we're about to take that step. Yeah, to the outer limits. Yeah, to that special place. To the top 5. Number 5. Who better than a man who had 2 lives? A man who really, truly showed us what reincarnation would look like. What it would really look like if you could actually witness it without having to die. That you have one life and then you take a pause and you come back and you completely reinvent yourself and you have a whole new one, a whole new existence. How special would be that? Or how special would that be? How many people could be special enough to even dare to think that they could reinvent themselves and have a successful first life where they're champion of the world, where they are the boogeyman, the man that everybody was afraid of, knocking everybody out, and then go away for years and then come back and be a whole different person. Be a friendlier version of the boogeyman. But at the end of the day, still become what he had been in his first existence. Champion of the world. At an age that didn't seem possible in this sport, in this unforgiving physical sport. It didn't seem possible that somebody could come back at that age at 45 and climbed to the top of the mountain again. Yeah, that special somebody is George Foreman. George Foreman, Olympic gold medalist, heavyweight champ, undefeated until he lost to Ali. Knocked out Joe Frazier, lifted him off the ground, invoked one of the greatest, probably one of the greatest calls of history. All commentators who consider themselves anything that are worth their salt, what do they all want to have as a call? All of them. All of them. Basketball, baseball, football, whatever they are, tennis, whatever. They all want to have a chance to have that call that Howard Cosell had. Down goes Frazier! Everyone. Down goes Frazier! Everybody wants to have that call. And who put him down? George Foreman. And then he comes back 10 years later, fights for a few years, fights for the heavyweight title, loses to Holyfield, the great Holyfield, in his 40s. And then still takes one more shot at it. And at 45, wins the heavyweight championship of the world. He could punch. He could take a punch. And he could reinvent himself to be a whole different person. A person that in the second coming really changed lives. Gave people hope. That had nowhere to get that hope. That, you mean, when I'm 45, I can still realize my dream? Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Just do it. Just look at George Foreman. Not to mention the grill. Yeah, it was a good product. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, George Foreman, number 5. Number 4! Yeah, he was around during an era where he beat some of the top great fighters when they were a little older. But you know what? Sometimes the great ones are great at an older age. They actually find their greatness at an older age. They don't find it at 25. They find it later. And yeah, he beat some great fighters like Ezra Charles and Jersey Joe Walcott when they were older. But they were great fighters at that age. You could even say that was their prime for them. And yeah, he could punch with either hand. And there, he hit you from all different angles. And he put pressure on you. And he went to the body, and he went to the head, and he had punches that had nicknames. They had nicknames to them. Susie Q, and names like that. And yeah, he's got a record that I don't know if it's ever going to be broken. The only heavyweight champion to retire undefeated at 49-0, the Brockton blockbuster Rocky Marciano. Yeah. And he's underrated. He's better than people get credit. We know he was tough. We know he could punch. We understand all of that. But what a lot of people don't understand, and I do understand, watching film of him with Customato, that there was a genius to all these people. And there was a genius to this one. No different. When he was fighting the great the great Ezra Charles, but when he was fighting the great Jersey Joe Walcott, 13th round, there were 15-round fights back then. 13th round, he was behind. He could only win by knockout. It didn't look like he was going to get it against Jersey Joe. He had already hit him good shots, and Jersey Joe handled them, rolled them, because Jersey Joe is good. He rolled them. He did what he had to do to survive them, took a little something off them, and Jersey Joe looked like he was going to maintain or retain his heavyweight title against the challenger, Rocky Marciano. But then in the 13th round, time for genius. Time to be more than just a puncher. Time to be heavyweight champ of the world. How do you do that with a guy that you've hit with your Susie Q and it didn't make him go away? You start one hand, boom, and you throw the other. You distract him. You just start, bop, bop, just to get his eyes to go in that direction so you can hit him on the other side with a right hand that this time he doesn't see. Rocky Marciano. Number 3, history. What is it worth, Rich, when you are the first to do something in a sport that is around, as I said, winds up going on for generations, for years and years and years, and many, many, many great fighters. But when you are the first to accomplish something in whatever you do, in whatever that vocation, that trade, that sport might be, you are special. And then on top of it, when you do it during a difficult time, when a person of your, let's just get right to it, of your race, of your color, is not supposed to do it, not even allowed to do it, and you find a way to do it, well, guess what? You get to go on Teddy Atlas's list at number 3 of greatest heavyweights of all time because your name is Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson. First black heavyweight champion of all time. And what a fighter. What a person. What a man to deal with what he had to deal with. The hatred, everything else during a time in our country where we were not what we needed to be, what we wanted to be, what we eventually became. A caring country and a fair country to everyone, to all. It took us a while to get there, but we got there. Thank God. But during a period that we hadn't gotten there yet, in this sport that was the biggest sport in our country, Jack Johnson was the first of African American heritage to win the heavyweight championship. And he did it brazenly. He did it with style, with gusto, with confidence. Not everyone liked that. But he did it with talent and skill and precision. He put punches together. He was one of the first guys to put, at that era, to put combinations together, to mix defense with offense, to have footwork, but at the same time as footwork, James Corbett had footwork, but he was moving, but footwork where you were set to punch too, and have power with that footwork, to merge those things together, to be scientific, to let combination punches be part of your arsenal with power and with the mix of, as I said, defensive responsibility. That's pretty special. That's Jack Johnson. All right, now, number 2. We're close. We're close. We're close. One more drum roll, Rich. Come on, I almost want to tease you people because you're thinking, oh, come on, it's got to be him. It's got to be him, right? It's got to be him. It's got to, because number 1 got to be him. Number 1 got to be him. But it's my list, my judgment. Yeah, he was called the greatest. But he's not quite the greatest on this list. But he's damn close. He's damn close. But he was great. He was special. He was a pioneer. He was part of history. Yeah. He did as much outside the game as he did inside the ring. Yeah, he changed the sport in many ways. And yeah, he had social impact with his punches as much as he had impact in the ring. He had it outside the ring with his actions, with his choices. Yeah, he was the one we call the greatest. He was Muhammad Ali, number 2. Yeah, it's a pretty damn good spot, but maybe not good enough for some of you. But I will explain why. Because number 1 deserves to be number 1. That's why. Muhammad Ali's number 2. He first heavyweight ever to exhibit the speed of a lightweight and faster than a lightweight. Put punches together so fast. I mean, come on. He said, I'm so fast that I'll put the lights out in my room and get to bed before they go out. That's fast. That's fast. And he was that fast, and he was that different, and he was that special. And he did have a forced layoff of 3.5 years that he came back, lost his best years, his prime years, and came back and won the title again when he had lost some of his greatest gifts of speed, of being elusive. Cus D'Amato used to tell me, Teddy, before Muhammad's forced layoff of 3.5 years, the only time you touched him was when the referee instructed you to touch gloves before the bell rang, for the most part. Of course, Henry Cooper did touch him on his way up with that left hook, and he survived it with the help of a great cornerman, maybe, Angelo Dundee. But there's no getting around how special Muhammad Ali was and what a pioneer he was, that he was able to mix quick feet and quick hands. Not too many people could do that, especially in the heavyweights, and put together the punches, like I said, as faster than a lightweight, faster than a featherweight. I can't say I ever saw a fight of any weight class when Ali was in his prime, like when he was fighting guys like Cleveland, Big Cat Williams. I don't know if I could say anybody that I've ever seen any fighter in any weight class fast as Ali. And it turned out he had a great chin that we didn't know in his first coming before the 3.5 year layoff. But we found out later on. What a great chin. What a great will he had. Yeah, you could even say that the first part of his career, it was all about skill. The second part of his career, when he came back and he won a title again, eventually, fighting George Foreman, the boogeyman, and stopping him in Zaire, you could say that part of his career was all about will. How often can you say that? I saw a guy with maybe the greatest skill I ever saw, but he also had maybe the greatest will ever. That doesn't happen too often. Doesn't happen too often. It happened with Ali. That leaves us to number 1. Yeah, it's my list. He deserves it. The greatest finisher in the history, maybe of boxing, but in the history of the heavyweight division. When this man hurts you, say goodnight, say goodbye, say see you later, nice knowing you. Start the shower, get the smelling salts, whatever. It was over. When he hurt you, he got rid of you. And how? By being calm and by putting together 4, 5, 6-inch punches, finishing you. He could punch with either hand. He was calm. He was always balanced. He was never out of position. He had a great trainer, Jackie Blackburn, who was one of the great fighters of his era. Great fighter, great fighter. He developed him. They called each other Chappie. It was special. This guy was never out of balance, never out of position. And when he lost his first fight on the way up, and then he got back and he won the title against James Braddock 2 years later. And they called him champ. And he said, don't call me that name. And he said, why? Because I'm not champ until I beat the one guy that beat me. Then you can call me champ. That guy was Max Schmeling. And what did he do? This is why he's number one, people. Pay attention here. This is why he's number one. He fights the guy that knocked him out in the ninth, I think it was, 9th or 12th round, whatever, when he was undefeated. He fights the only guy to ever beat him, Max Schmeling. He fights him outdoors at Yankee Stadium, and the whole world was watching. You know how nowadays you have people in anything, they say, oh, I got a lot of pressure. Pressure's too much. I couldn't show up to work today. I didn't feel right. I had too much going on in my life. I had too much going on at home. I can't play. I can't pitch that game because I had a little touch of diarrhea, and that could be bad. I get it. But, I had a little, and I had some stuff going on at home, and I'm going through a tough marriage, and I'm going through some personal stuff, and I don't mean to let the team down, but you got to go without me for this one. It's too much. I can't handle it right now, as we've seen that. We've heard all of that. The people that sometimes it's a big thing that is the pressure. Sometimes it's not so big. But whatever it is a form of pressure. It is something that gets some people to just cave, to say, I just can't quite deal with it. It was part of the reason I didn't deal with it, or part of the reason why I tried to deal with it, but I failed. Take all of those, everyone you've ever heard, every one of them, put them together, add them all up, put them into one room, make it a big room, because you got so many of them, and they don't come close to what this man, number one, had to deal with on that night at Yankee Stadium when he fought the one guy who beat him to defend his title against. And that one guy was from a country called Germany. And the guy running that country at the time was a man named, I don't even like to say man, but a creature, a devil, but a force. A dangerous force that was threatening the whole world. His name was Adolf Hitler. He killed millions and millions and millions of people, and he wasn't done killing. He was going to take over the whole world with the superior race that he was talking about. And his example of it was going to be for the whole world to see. On the eve of World War II, he was going to show the world what the superior race was. In the best place you could show it, in the boxing ring, where the baddest man on the planet, before they used that term, would go and do his stuff. And the world was watching. Everybody was watching because Max Schmeling was used. He was put forward by Hitler as his example, as his warrior, as his soldier, to show the whole world how Germany was superior and was going to conquer anything they wanted to conquer. So he puts Max Schmeling in the ring with all of the backing of the Nazi party, of everything that Hitler put forward. puts him in a ring with this man. So this man don't only have to fight a guy who already beat him. He's got to defend the world. You think that's pressure, Rich? You think that's pressure, Rich? And then you get a phone call from the President of the United States. And I'm going to give it away right here with the phone call. The President says, Joe, you got to win this one for the good guys. And Joe Louis went and won it for the good guys. He won it for the world. He knocked out, maybe in the most, just, you talk about annihilation. You don't need, I have a way of always saying you don't have to go to Webster's Dictionary. You don't have to go to Webster's Dictionary to see what annihilation is. Just watch the one round of Joe Louis and Max Schmeling on the eve of World War II, of what he did. And back in the day where we didn't have pay-per-view, we didn't have cable, we didn't have social media, it was the biggest event in the world, and the toughest, and the heaviest. Yeah, the heaviest. Because the whole world was weighing on the shoulders of Joe Louis. The whole world. The whole world. Those are big shoulders to hold the world. And what did he do? He annihilated Max Schmeling with short, precise, dangerous punches to the body, to the head, placed uppercuts, bang, 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 and destroyed this tremendous fighter. Destroyed him in one round. While the whole world stood quiet and watched. Everything was on radio back then. They set up radio all around the world where everybody could listen. Times Square, New York City. They had speakers in Times Square with the call from Don Dumphy. Schmeling is down. Louis drops Schmeling. The whole world heard it. I get goosebumps talking about it. If that doesn't earn you number one, please write in and explain to me what does. Because I sure as heck would like to know. I really will. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was up to your standards and pleases all of yous. But you can't please everyone, Rich. Because like you said earlier in the show we did before, you like mint chocolate chip ice cream. Everybody likes something different. And God bless you. You have the right to like that. The fans have the right to like whatever they do. I hope you like this.
I think the viewers will. I really thoroughly enjoyed listening to that, and you nailed it. You gave me goosebumps talking about the great Joe Louis there at the end. I thought that was fantastic. We're going to do more of these. But I'm glad it was your list, not my list, because I could hear the groans and the moans already. Now, Teddy, where's Sonny Liston? Where's Floyd Patterson? Where's Joe Frazier? For me, one of my favorites, where's Evander Holyfield? But it's your list, and there could only be 10.
And you know what? I'm gonna thank you. I'm gonna jump in on that only because of you gave me something to jump in, and I don't have to, but I am. I'm looking at the name. I'm gonna say it. I decided to leave one space blank. Now, a lot of people say, "But Teddy, if you didn't leave that one space blank, and you had 10 instead of 9 because you left it," you explained it. You left it because Usyk is coming. Usyk's coming. Usyk's coming. He's coming. And he deserves to be coming. But if I had to fill that space, not at number 6, but I would put it at the bottom, number 10, and push everybody up one notch. One notch. Okay? So Lennox goes from number 10 to number 9. Larry goes from 9 to 8. Dempsey goes from 8 to 7. Tunney goes from 7 to 6. On and on and on and on. That space at number 10 would be none other than Sonny Liston. He was that great. He was that damn good. Unfortunately, his life was that damn screwed up too. Unfortunately. But yeah, he was good. He could punch, he could fight. He was smart, he was technically sound, and man, he was scary. He was scary before George Foreman was scary. And that's scary. That's scary. Yeah, he was good. And he hurt you, he could finish you. And he had maybe, as great as Larry Holmes' jab was, Sonny Liston might have had the greatest jab of all time. Yeah, that's Teddy Atlas's opinion. All right. But I back it up. I back it up with many years of watching all the fight footage of all the great fighters up in Catskill that we had the privilege of watching because Jim Jacobs and Bill Caton owned Big Fights Inc. And they sent us all the fight films. They sent them to me and Cuss. So I get to watch Henry Armstrong. Oh, I get to watch Sonny Liston, all these fights, Joe Louis, all of them. And Sonny Liston might have had, for me, the greatest jab of all time. It was long. It was hard. Like I talked about, Foreman's was like a foam pole. Oh, this was like a foam pole with an extension on it. Because it went out. I think he was double jointed. I'm not serious. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. He would go out. I broke down. Cuz said, let's watch it together. Cuz found it very interesting that I brought this up. And we just kept breaking it down. We kept going back and watching it, back and watching it, back and watching it. And Cuz said, you got a point there. He went out to here where jabs end, and then he went another 5 inches. His shoulder just seemed to dislocate, if you want to say that. Double jointed, whatever. And it just all of a sudden went from here, and it went another 4 or 5 inches. It was incredible. He had a longest reach with that, and it was all straight, accurate, and powerful. And when he hit you with that, a lot of guys didn't want to be around to find out what the other punches would feel like. Believe me, they crumbled. They crumbled. So, yeah, that's the whole thing. You got the whole enchilada there, guys.
Now, that was, again, awesome. And I hope the viewers enjoyed it as much as I did. Like we said earlier, we're going to do more, and leave comments. Let us know who's your top 10 greatest heavyweights of all time. What topics would you like Teddy to discuss and break down moving forward? And we'll be doing more of these and get what you guys want. So thank you again, Bud. Again, hope everybody enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next time.